You knew, before the words were spoken, before the proof arrived, before everyone else finally saw what you had sensed all along. You knew. It was there, that flicker in your chest, that whisper so quiet you almost missed it, that pull in your gut that said, something isn't right here, but you didn't listen. Maybe you told yourself you were being paranoid, dramatic, unfair. Maybe you looked around and saw everyone else smiling, nodding, accepting, and you thought, it must be me. I must be the broken one. I must be seeing things that aren't there. So you swallowed it, pushed it down, smiled when your body wanted to run, said yes when everything inside you screamed no. And then it happened. The betrayal you sensed but couldn't prove, the collapse you felt coming but couldn't name, the loss that your body mourned before your mind even knew to grieve. And in the aftermath, standing in the rubble of something you could have prevented, one thought kept echoing. I knew. Why didn't I trust myself? If you've ever felt this, the devastating regret of ignored intuition, the exhausting pattern of overriding yourself, the loneliness of perceiving what others refuse to see, this is for you. Today we're going somewhere important, somewhere most people are too afraid to look. We're going to find the part of you that always knew, the signal that never stopped broadcasting, the perception that was trained out of you but never truly died. This is the signs you ignored. And by the end, you'll understand not just why you stopped listening, but how to hear yourself again. Stay with me. Every word. This might be the conversation you've been waiting your whole life to have. The signal that was always there. I need to tell you something about yourself, something you may have forgotten, something that was stolen from you so slowly. You didn't even notice it was gone. You were born with a gift, not a mystical power, not something supernatural, something far more precious. You were born with the ability to know, before language, before logic, before anyone told you what to think or feel or believe. Your body could read the world. You could sense tension before anyone spoke. You could feel danger before it arrived. You could perceive truth beneath the surface of lies. This wasn't magic. This was biology. Millions of years of evolution, wiring your nervous system to detect threats, to read social cues, to sense what was safe and what was not. Your ancestors survived because they listened to this signal. The ones who ignored it, they didn't become ancestors. Think of it like this. Inside you, there's a frequency, a channel that broadcasts information your conscious mind can't always access. Your unconscious takes in millions of data points every second, micro-expressions that flash across faces in milliseconds, subtle shifts in tone your ears register but your mind doesn't process, patterns that repeat just below the threshold of awareness, incongruencies between words and energy. All of this gets processed, analyzed, integrated, and then it gets broadcast, sent up to your conscious awareness as a feeling, a sensation, a knowing you can't explain. That's your signal, your inner frequency, your birthright, and somewhere along the way, you were taught to change the channel. How they taught you to stop listening. Let me take you back. You were small, the world was overwhelming, and you were doing your best to understand it. You perceived things, real things. You felt the sadness your mother was hiding behind her smile. You sensed the anger simmering beneath your father's silence. You knew something was wrong between them, even when they said everything was fine. And because you were a child, because you hadn't yet learned to doubt yourself, you spoke it. Mommy, are you sad? Daddy, why are you angry? Something feels wrong. And what happened next? Maybe you were dismissed. I'm fine. Stop asking. Maybe you were corrected. Nothing is wrong. You're imagining things. Maybe you were punished, told you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. And in that moment, something shifted inside you. You learned a devastating lesson. What I perceive is not real. What I feel is not valid. What I know, I don't actually know. I cannot trust myself. Do you understand how brutal this is? A child's most basic sense of reality, their ability to know what they know, gets overwritten, not because they were wrong, but because their truth was inconvenient, because the adults couldn't handle being seen, because the family system needed the child to be blind, because your perception threatened the lies everyone was committed to. So you adapted, like any child would. You turned down the volume on your own signal. You learned to tune into their frequency instead, their version of reality, their interpretation of events, their comfort over your truth. And year after year, the static grew louder and your signal grew fainter, until you forgot it was ever there. The static that replaced your knowing. I want you to understand what filled the space when your signal went quiet, because something always fills the void. When you stopped trusting your own perception, you started trusting everything else. Other people's opinions became your compass. They seem to think it's fine, so it must be fine. Logic became your only guide. It doesn't make sense to feel this way, so I won't. Fear became indistinguishable from intuition. I can't tell if this is a real warning or just my anxiety, so I'll ignore it. And the voices. So many voices moved in where your knowing used to live. The voice of the critical parent. You're too sensitive. You always overreact. The voice of the dismissive culture. Trust the facts. Feelings aren't evidence. The voice of past betrayals. You were wrong before. You'll be wrong again. The voice of toxic positivity. Don't be negative. Give people the benefit of the doubt. These voices became your new radio station, broadcasting constantly, drowning out the quiet knowing that was trying to reach you. And you mistook this static for normalcy. You thought this is just how it feels to be a person, confused, uncertain, dependent on others to tell you what's real. You didn't realize you were living with the volume turned down on yourself. You didn't realize there was a signal beneath the static that had been trying to reach you all along. The animal that still remembers. Now, I need to tell you, it's something that might change everything. Despite all of it, the dismissal, the conditioning, the years of static, your signal never stopped. It's still there, broadcasting, waiting. You see, your mind can be convinced to ignore, but your body cannot lie. There's a part of you older than language, older than logic, older than all the conditioning that was layered on top. I call it the animal. Before you were a person with a name, with stories about who you are, with beliefs about what's true, you were a body. A living creature with instincts, with reflexes, with a nervous system designed over millions of years to keep you alive. That animal doesn't care about being polite. It doesn't worry about seeming dramatic. It doesn't need permission to perceive. It simply knows. And it communicates the only way it can, through the body. That tightness in your chest when something's wrong, that's the animal. That sick feeling in your stomach around someone untrustworthy, that's the animal. That impulse to step back, to leave, to protect yourself, that's the animal. The hair rising on your arms, the sudden need to check behind you, the way your throat closes when you're about to agree to something that will hurt you. Animal, animal, animal. It's been trying to reach you for years, sending signals, waving red flags, screaming through sensation when words couldn't get through. And you, because you were taught your knowing was wrong, you overrode it again and again and again. The animal never gave up on you. It still hasn't. Oh, right now, as you listen to this, it's awake, listening, wondering if finally you're ready to let it protect you again. The 3 signals you've been ignoring. Let me get specific, because I want you to recognize yourself, not in abstract concepts, in real moments, the moments that still haunt you. There are 3 signals we ignore most often, 3 ways the animal tries to warn us, that we've been trained to dismiss. Signal 1, the body's first response. Think back to someone who later hurt you. Not when the hurt happened. Go back further. The first time you met them, the first conversation, the first interaction. What did your body do? Maybe your shoulders tensed slightly. Maybe your smile felt forced. Maybe you felt a subtle pull to step back, create distance, protect your space. Maybe there was something in their eyes, something in their laugh, something that didn't land right in your body. You felt it. I know you did. Because the body always responds first, before the mind forms an opinion, before you even know their name. Your nervous system has already assessed them. Safe or not safe. But what did you do with that information? You probably overrode it, told yourself you were judging too quickly, reminded yourself to give people a chance, decided your body was being irrational. And months, maybe years later, when they showed you who they really were, you remembered. You remembered that first feeling, the one you talked yourself out of. Signal 2, the pattern you kept explaining away. This one is insidious, because it doesn't come as one big warning, it comes as a series of small ones. The comment that felt a little off, but you let it go. The behavior that concerned you, but you made an excuse. The promise that was broken, but you accepted the apology. The moment something felt wrong, but everyone else seemed fine. One by one, signal after signal. And you explained them all away. They didn't mean it like that. They're just going through a hard time. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. It was only once. But here's the truth. Your unconscious wasn't tracking individual incidents. It was tracking the pattern. It was connecting dots, building a picture, seeing where this was heading. And it was sending you signal after signal after signal, trying to show you. But you couldn't see the pattern because you were too busy excusing each individual piece. The signal 3, the knowing that came in the quiet. This is the one that hurts most to remember. There were moments when the noise stopped, when you were alone, when it was quiet enough to hear yourself. Maybe late at night, maybe in the shower, maybe in that strange space between waking and sleeping. And in that silence, a truth surfaced, clear, undeniable, unbearable. This relationship is over. This path is wrong for me. This person is lying. I'm not okay. I need to leave. You knew in that moment, you absolutely knew. But then morning came, the noise returned, the responsibilities pressed in, the fear of what acting on that truth would mean. And you buried it, pushed it back down, told yourself it was just a mood, just exhaustion, just temporary doubt. And you kept going, ignoring the clearest signal you'd ever received. How many times has this happened? How many quiet knowings have you buried because the truth was too heavy to hold? Why we choose blindness? I need to address something uncomfortable now. Because if you're like most people, you're not just a passive victim of conditioning. At some point, ignoring the signs became a choice. Not a conscious choice, not a malicious choice, but a choice nonetheless. And here's why. Seeing is expensive. When you acknowledge what your intuition is telling you, you have to do something about it. If you see that your relationship is toxic, you have to face the terrifying possibility of leaving. If you see that your job is destroying you, you have to confront the risk of change. If you see that someone you love is not who they pretend to be, you have to grieve the person you thought they were. Seeing requires response, and response requires loss. Loss of comfort, loss of certainty, loss of the story you've been telling yourself. So we choose blindness. Not because we're stupid, because we're human, because sometimes the truth feels like more than we can survive. But here's what you need to understand. The cost of not seeing is always higher. It's just delayed. The relationship you stayed in because leaving felt too hard, it ended anyway, after years more damage. The job you kept because change was scary, it burned you out, broke your health, stole years of joy. The truth you refused to see, it didn't go away. It waited. And when it finally surfaced, it brought compound interest of pain. Blindness doesn't protect you. It just lets the wound deepen while you look away. Orsta, the difference between intuition and trauma. Now, I need to address something you may be wondering. How do I know if what I'm feeling is real intuition or just old fear wearing a new mask? This is one of the most important questions you can ask, because here's the truth. Trauma and intuition can feel remarkably similar. Both show up as strong feelings. Both can arise without logical explanation. Both create urgency in the body. But they are not the same, and confusing them can cost you everything. Let me show you how to tell the difference. Trauma is a flashback disguised as a prediction. It takes something from your past and projects it onto your present and future. Trauma says, you were hurt before, therefore you will always be hurt. Everyone is dangerous. Nothing is safe. Run from everything. Trauma is generalized. It doesn't discriminate. It sees threat everywhere because it hasn't processed that the original danger is over. Intuition is different. Intuition is a reading of the present moment. It takes information from what's actually in front of you and sends a signal based on that specific reality. Intuition says, this situation is off. This person is showing inconsistency. This decision doesn't align. Pay attention here. Intuition is specific, targeted, grounded in the now. Here's a simple way to test it. When the alarm goes off inside you, pause, breathe, and ask, is this about what's actually in front of me, or does this feeling have a history? If you dig down and find, this is really about your father, or your ex, or that friend who betrayed you, or that time you were abandoned, it's probably trauma, and it needs compassion, processing, perhaps professional support. But if you dig down and find, this feeling is specifically about this person, this choice, this moment, and there's a quiet clarity beneath the discomfort. That's intuition, and it needs to be honored. Trauma screams, intuition states. Trauma feels like chaos. Intuition feels like clarity wrapped in discomfort. You can feel the difference once you know to look. 5 practices to reclaim your signal. Now, let's rebuild. I'm going to give you 5 practices to turn the volume back up on your own knowing. These aren't quick fixes. They're a way of living, a commitment to yourself that says, I will listen to me again. Practice 1. Return to the body daily. Yas. Your signal broadcasts through the body. If you're disconnected from your body, you're disconnected from your knowing. Every day, create moments of embodied presence. This can be as simple as placing your hand on your chest and feeling your heartbeat, scanning from head to toe and noticing sensation, taking 5 breaths where you feel the air move through you. The practice isn't about feeling good, it's about feeling anything. Reconnect with the physical experience of being you. This is where the signal lives. Practice 2. Create sacred pauses. Most signals get missed because we're moving too fast. We make decisions in an instant. We respond before we check in. We say yes when we haven't even asked ourselves what we want. Train yourself to pause. Before any significant decision, before any commitment, before any agreement, say these words. Let me sit with this. Even just a few hours, even overnight. In that sacred pause, your unconscious has time to speak. Your body has time to respond. Your signal has time to rise above the noise. Rushed decisions are where we override ourselves most. Create space. The truth becomes clearer when you're not in a hurry. Practice 3. Dialogue with the animal. This might feel strange at first, but stay with me. That instinctual part of you, the one I called the animal, it wants to communicate, but it's learned that you don't listen. Start a conversation. When you're facing a decision or a situation, close your eyes, breathe, and silently ask, what do you know about this that I'm not seeing? What do you need me to understand? What are you trying to tell me? Then listen. Not for words necessarily, for images, sensations, emotions, a sudden knowing. The animal speaks in the language of the body. Learn to translate. The more you ask, the more it trusts you. The more it trusts you, the clearer the signals become. Practice 4. Keep a knowing journal. Start tracking your signals. Write down when you sense something, when your body responds, when a quiet knowing rises. Note the date, the situation, the sensation, what you perceived, and then, later, note what actually happened. This does 2 things. First, it builds evidence. Every time your intuition proves accurate, you strengthen your trust in it. You reclaim authority over your own perception. Second, it helps you learn your language. Maybe your intuition shows up as a specific feeling, a pressure behind your eyes, a heaviness in your solar plexus, a particular quality of silence in your mind. When you track your knowing, you learn how your signal broadcasts, and you recognize it faster in the moment. Practice 5. Act on small signals first. Here's where most people fail. They wait for the big intuition, the unmistakable message, the neon sign from the universe. But intuition is like a muscle. If you haven't used it on small things, you won't trust it for big ones. Start honoring the small signals, the subtle no when someone asks for your time, the quiet pull toward one option over another, the gentle warning to slow down. Practice acting on these, even when it's inconvenient, even when you can't justify it logically. I know this. Doesn't make sense, but I'm going to honor what I'm feeling. Emotionalhealing. Every time you act on a signal, you tell your unconscious, I'm listening now, keep talking, and it will, louder, clearer, more frequently, until the signal becomes impossible to ignore. The grief of what you didn't hear. Before we go further, I need to make space for something. If you've been recognizing yourself in this, if you've been remembering all the times you knew and didn't listen, there may be grief rising, let it come. Grief for the years lost to wrong paths, grief for the relationships you stayed in too long, grief for the pain that was preventable, grief for the younger you who was taught their knowing was worthless. I want to speak directly to that grief. You didn't fail. You did what you were trained to do. You doubted yourself because you were taught to doubt yourself. You ignored the signs because ignoring was survival. You chose blindness because seeing felt like more than you could bear. That wasn't weakness, that was adaptation. A child who is told again and again that their perception is wrong has to stop trusting themselves to survive. You made the only choice that made sense at the time. But here's the invitation. The past is unchangeable. The signals you ignored cannot be unignored. The consequences have already unfolded. But the future is still unwritten. And now you know. Now you understand what happened. Now you can choose differently. The grief is real. Honor it. Feel it. Let it move through you. But don't let it become another reason to stay blind. Let it become fuel. Fuel for the commitment to never abandon yourself again. When your seeing threatens others, I need to prepare you for something. When you start listening to yourself again, not everyone will be happy about it. Some people have benefited from your blindness. The partner who needed you to not see their manipulation, the friend who needed you to ignore their selfishness, the family member who needed you to overlook their dysfunction, the system that needed you to stay compliant. When you start seeing, these people will feel threatened. They might call you paranoid, dramatic, negative, too much. Sound familiar? It's the same language that was used to silence you as a child, and it serves the same purpose, to make you doubt your perception, to return you to comfortable blindness, to protect their version of reality from your truth. This is perhaps the hardest part of reclaiming your signal. You may have to grieve relationships that cannot survive your seeing. You may have to stand alone in your perception for a while. You may have to tolerate being called crazy by people who need you to stay blind. But I promise you, On the other side of this, there are people who will welcome your clarity, people who are also awake, also seeing, also refusing to pretend. You will find each other. Your seeing will attract others who value truth over comfort. But first, you may have to lose those who needed your blindness to stay close. The world that opens when you listen. Let me tell you what becomes possible. When you reclaim your signal, when you learn to hear the animal again, when you honor what you know, everything changes. You stop being blindsided. Not because you become psychic, because you stop ignoring what you already see. The betrayals that used to devastate you, you sense them in the first inconsistencies. You respond early. You protect yourself before the damage is done. You stop betraying yourself. No more saying yes when your body screams no. No more staying in rooms that drain you. No more abandoning your knowing to keep someone else comfortable. You become loyal to yourself, maybe for the first time in your life. You develop trust, not the naive trust that believes everything, not the wounded distrust that believes nothing. Real trust, earned trust, trust in your own capacity to discern. You can be open to people because you know you'll perceive if something is wrong. You can take risks because you know you'll feel the warning if danger approaches. Your intuition becomes your safety net. And paradoxically, this lets you live more fully. Shipu. You find peace. The exhausting effort of second-guessing yourself falls away. The constant anxiety of, am I right? Am I wrong? What's really happening? Quiets. Because you know you can trust what you perceive. You know your signal is clear. You know the animal is watching. And that knowing brings a kind of rest you may have never experienced. This is what's available to you. Not someday. Now. The signal is already broadcasting. The animal is already awake. Your knowing never stopped trying to reach you. All you have to do is finally listen. When to seek support. Before I close, I need to say this clearly. Some of you have experienced trauma so deep that your signal is tangled with pain. It's hard to know what's intuition and what's fear. Every alarm feels the same. The past and the present blur together. If this is you, please don't try to do this alone. A skilled therapist can help you untangle, can help you process the original wounds that distorted your perception, can help you learn to distinguish between the animal's true warning and the trauma's false alarm. Modalities that support this include internal family systems, which works with the parts of you that learn to override your knowing, somatic experiencing, which helps reconnect you to the body's wisdom safely, EMDR, which processes stuck experiences so the past stops contaminating the present. Reclaiming your signal is sacred work, and sometimes, sacred work needs a witness, a guide, someone who can walk with you as you learn to trust yourself again. There is no shame in this, only wisdom. I want to leave you with this. You were never broken. Your ability to know was never destroyed. It was buried under years of static, under voices that weren't yours, under the survival strategy of a child who had no other choice. But it's still there. The signal is still broadcasting, waiting for you to tune back in. The animal is still watching, waiting for you to trust it again. Your knowing never abandoned you, even when you abandoned it. So here's my invitation. Start listening. Not perfectly, not all at once, but one signal at a time, one sacred pause at a time, one small act of trusting yourself at a time. And when you hear it, that quiet voice, that subtle knowing, that tightening in your chest that says, pay attention. Don't dismiss it. Don't explain it away. Don't override it to keep the peace. Honor it. Because that signal is you, the part of you that was never fooled, never confused, never wrong. It was just waiting for you to listen. You knew all along, and now you can finally act on what you know. If this reached you, if something in you felt seen today, Take a moment to subscribe, turn on notifications. We go deep here, and there's so much more to explore together. In the comments, I want to hear from you. What sign did you ignore that you wish you'd honored? What truth did your body know long before your mind admitted it? What signal is trying to reach you right now? Share carefully. Your honesty might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember, this video is for self-reflection and education. It is not a substitute for professional therapy. If you're struggling to distinguish intuition from trauma, if your nervous system feels constantly activated, if this content brought up more than you can hold alone, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional. You deserve support. You always did. Until next time, turn down the static. Listen for the signal. Trust the animal. And remember, you knew. You always knew. Welcome back to yourself. Thank you for being here. You're not alone.